You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere. This is your WFHR Daily News Roundup for locally grown radio 97.5 FM and 1320 AM and WisCountry 105.5 FM WIRI in Wisconsin Rapids.
From the WFHR WIRI newsroom, I'm Terry Barr. The Wisconsin Supreme Court orders the suspension of Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge Hannah Dugan. Now, you'll recall the FBI arrested her last week. Dugan is facing charges of helping an undocumented immigrant avoid arrest. The court is temporarily relieving her of her official duties, and Milwaukee County Chief Judge Carl Ashley will be handling her cases. Handling Culver's, Jimmy Kutzka reports on a change at the top.
A popular Wisconsin restaurant chain announced its new CEO this week. The new CEO of Culver's will be Julie Fussner. Fussner is the company's fifth CEO and the first woman to hold the title for the company. Fussner has been with Culver's since 2017, becoming the company's first chief marketing officer. She'll take over for Enrique Silva, who retired in February. Culver's has 151 locations in its home state of Wisconsin and over 1,000 restaurants nationally.
Are Weather Service officials finding any damage after our recent storms? Meteorologist Brittany Merlot has an update.
From southern Eau Claire County, the National Weather Service confirms a tornado with images, video, reported damage, and debris signature seen on radar. The NWS Twin Cities office is out surveying the damage done. Radar and reports show the path of the twister may stretch from Fall Creek east to Augusta. And in Buffalo County, another possible tornado with reports of damage to trees and some homes. Near Mondovi, shingles are ripped off of some roofs, windows shattered, and patio furniture flipped just east of the Valley Golf Course. Buffalo County officials say the track starts 3/4 of a mile south of the Eau Claire County line, just northeast of the town. The NWS Twin Cities office is surveying this track in its entirety, and in Shawano County, the NWS Green Bay confirms that their survey team did find evidence of a tornado near Mattoon last night, and they'll have more information once the survey team is done.
I'm Terry Barr. You're listening to WFHR and WIRI News.
The Bucs season comes to an end. I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Bucs losing to the Pacers in overtime, 119-118. After the game, there was pushing and shoving at midcourt. Giannis says the father of Indy's Tyrese Halliburton got in his face, taunting, swearing.
I believe being humble in victory. That's how I am. When you win the game, you gotta tag and with his face. This is what we do. This is what we effing do. This is the F we do. I feel like that's very, very disrespectful. I've won the championship. They haven't.
The Pacers advanced to face the Cavaliers. Baseball, Brewers giving up a couple of runs in the bottom of the first, but went on to beat the White Sox in Chicago 7-2. Freddie Peralta and catcher William Contreras, praised by Pat Murphy.
Freddie and William did a great job after that first inning, to give us 6 innings, and they were on his heater early, and he made a nice adjustment and showed that he can navigate through someone's just jumping his heater.
That's Brewers manager Pat Murphy. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. We've all heard of chewing the worm one might find at the bottom of a tequila bottle, but a snake? True story. A Virginia woman was about to sip her margarita when a snake fell from the ceiling and landed in her glass after slapping her in the forehead. What did the woman do after being freaked out? Naturally, she took a picture for social media. As a result of the incident, it was revealed the restaurant was in violation of several health codes. Really? Turning down big money would be tough for most of us to do, even if it's to protect a franchise film legacy like Back to the Future. Bob Gale, who is the creator behind the trilogy, says under no circumstances will there ever be a spin-off, prequel, or another sequel. He calls the franchise perfect the way it is. The producer says the only way it could remotely happen is if Steven Spielberg signs off on it, and that most likely will not happen because Spielberg does not like sequels. That's probably why we've never seen E.T. Goes to College. People get scared when they see Lost star Sam Anderson board their flight. The 79-year-old actor says when people see him, their faces say, "Get me off this flight," even though a crash would be highly unlikely because most airline passengers aren't good-looking enough to be actors on a network show. On the other hand, when Leslie Nielsen used to board a plane, no one seemed to mind because although there was a threat of disaster, he brought big laughs. Jack Loudon will break down barriers in a new rendition of Pride and Prejudice, according to Jack Loudon. The star of Slow Horses and Dunkirk will play Mr. Darcy opposite Emma Corrin's Elizabeth Bennet. Loudon says the fact that he is the first ginger or redhead to play Mr. Darcy is one of the last discriminatory barriers to fall in television. Loudon replaces the most recent Mr. Darcy, played by the establishment's Colin Firth. Now that's sarcasm. There are some actors that will immerse themselves completely in a role and do anything to accurately portray their character. Then there is Terrence Howard. Howard says his biggest regret in his career is turning down the role of Smokey Robinson, which the singer personally asked him to play. He passed on the role because he was in negotiations to play Marvin Gaye in a biopic by Lee Daniels. According to Variety, Howard ultimately passed on that role over concerns that Marvin was actually gay, concerns that were confirmed by Quincy Jones. During a recent episode of the Club Random podcast, Howard said if he had to kiss a man in a film, he would cut his lips off. I assume he meant his own lips. Howard explained, saying he has to totally understand a role because he doesn't fake it. Maybe that's why he had no problem playing a pimp in Hustle and Flow. He was also in Big Mama's House. Wonder if he cut a body part off after that gem. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Mostly sunny today. We'll get to around 62 for a high this afternoon. The wind out of the southeast at 5 to 15. Tonight, scattered showers, mostly cloudy, our low in the low 40s. Tomorrow, scattered showers, mostly cloudy with a high of 57. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Right now, it's 39.
That's your WFHR and WIRI Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at WFHR.com or WisCountry, that's WIS Country.com. The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.